What do you mean, oh?
He said go.
Oh, go. Talk to the camera.
Hi, I'm Derek Sinclair, and we're here, Wineology, with Aaron Bick. Aaron, you're going to talk about some wines today that you find are some of your favorites?
Well, I won't say my favorites because there's so many that I love, but they're really good ones. And they do happen to be, it does happen to be the lineup that I'm going to be enjoying with my dinner in a couple hours.
In a couple of hours.
Yeah, and by the way, Derek, I have to compliment you on your name. It is like the perfect name for this position that you have right now. So I'm going to talk a little bit about well, first of all, I'm Aaron Bick, founder of WineOnline.ca. I'm going to talk a little bit about these wines, my philosophy about wines, and Derek, you can just feel free to interrupt me whenever you get tired of listening to me talk.
I will.
So this is called Beautiful Cava. The name actually really suits the product inside the bottle because it's really quite good. And
fairly difficult to open, apparently.
Yeah, most champagne's most bubbly is a bit of a pain to open, yes. But it is a little more difficult to open than we would like it to be. But good bubblies. Well, all bubbly is not created equal.
I like that sound.
Yeah, the sound is good. First of all, there's really two ways to create a bubble in your bottle of wine. One is through a second fermentation, which is the way champagne is made, Cremant is made, Cava is made, Franciacorta is made. It's a bit of a time-consuming process. Takes a little work. But you end up with, in my opinion, usually a better product.
Right.
The other way to make bubbly wine is to, when they make pop, they just take carbon dioxide and inject it into the liquid, and all of a sudden your still wine is now bubbly, which to me is not the ideal way. So Cava I find to be more often than not the best deal on bubbly. Like this is, taste it. It's pretty darn good. It's dry. It's still got that yeast that you get from champagne a bit.
Now this is a rosé, obviously.
Yep.
And so that comes from the skin of the grapes?
Well, rosé generally is just from red grapes and not pressed very deeply.
Okay, so you don't get a lot of the color, but you get some color.
Exactly.
Got it.
And so this is from Grenache, actually, which you don't often.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's very nice.
And you notice it's probably a bit warmer than you're used to tasting it. But for those who like to taste wine or are interested to learn about tasting wine, you really want to taste. You don't want to taste whites. You don't want to taste anything ice cold because you pretty much lose all the flavor. It just tastes cold.
Yeah. I know a lot of people, they will take a bottle of wine and stick it in the freezer for 40 minutes before they serve it, and I'm not sure that's the right way to go.
Well, it depends how warm it was when it went into the freezer, I guess.
That's true, too, yeah.
In the end, the deal with white wine, rosé, sparkling wine is it should be served between 5 and 8 degrees if it's good. If it's not very good, serve it as cold as you can because you really don't want to taste it anyway.
Right, you don't want to taste the flavors. But this is a good temperature. I can really taste what's going on in this wine.
And there's a lot, right?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Depth.
Yeah.
So the first time, I went to visit, this is made by a guy named Isaac Fernandez.
Now you were saying that you really talk to the winemakers. I mean, you get very involved. You're on the ground in that sense, right? And that's one of the things that kind of gives you your insight.
Yeah, I mean, I have no formal education in wine. Almost everything I've learned about wine has been learned from the people who make the wine.
Right.
I keep getting congratulations on my 15-year work anniversary because on LinkedIn it shows that I've been doing this for 15 years, which I was frankly surprised about. I can't believe I've been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah.
But I've traveled extensively. Almost every wine we carry, I've met the winemaker. I've walked the vineyards. I know the processes. I know what the vineyard looks like. So pretty much all my wine education comes from the people who make the wine. So this guy in particular is a really interesting guy. He is dedicated to making great wine at inexplicably low prices. So his uncle is the winemaker for Vega Sicilia, which I don't know if you know what Vega Sicilia is, but it's
I've heard of it.
probably the most sought after wine from Spain. So he learned from his uncle. They have their own vineyards. But he basically started a company going around Spain, finding amazing wine growers that have excess juice, buying it from them and turning it into wines that are highly drinkable. And I don't know how they make any money. I can't, for the life of me, I can't figure it out. But at any rate, you know, they have wine import in Canada, though. I mean, we're their importers here. That like start at $12.95, and they're really good.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I'm a total wine snob, and I drink them all the time.
And the restaurants can mark them up dramatically as well because of that.
And they do.
Right? Yeah, that's good.
And they do. Anyway, this particular bottle, I believe it to be one of the best deals on Bubbly in Canada at $16.95. And you know, it's got good scores. It's got Best Buy accolades. It's the whole package. And I think it's a great way to start any evening. You're going to cheer everybody up if you hand them a glass of rosé as they walk through the door.
Yeah, it's a good time to do toasts as well and so on.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the evening when you're welcoming your guests and so on.
I'm a big believer that Bubbly's for the beginning and the end of an evening.
Yeah.
Because at the very end of the evening, you know, everybody needs a pick-me-up.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how would you pronounce this exactly? I mean, it looks to me like they want it pronounced in kind of a fun way, but I'm not sure if that's the case.
It's described to me as beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, well, you can go that way. I think they're just shooting for a play on beautiful because it is pretty beautiful. Anyway, so I tried this wine in Ribera Sacra for the first time after trying a bunch of Ribera Sacra. And Ribera Sacra is small appellation, very beautiful, lots of depth in the wine. The wines are great. And I tried this and I was just sort of blown away by the quality, and I just said, let's start with this one, and we've been doing it ever since. And
there's nothing like finding a fantastic value in wine.
Yeah.
And that's obviously something that you take a lot of time to try and achieve.
Yeah, well, people, because of our taxation system here in Canada, you have to find great values, because if they're not great values, by the time they get here, it's going to be so damn expensive that nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah.
So you have to find. So our concept at Wine Online really is the best values and the best wines from any particular region.
Yeah.
So we also go super high end.
Sure.
Like the stuff that collectors want.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing a special occasion, you want something just out of this world, we've got it for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I remember having a late night Quintarelli one time, and I think it was about $700 a bottle.
Yeah,
and
that sounds about right.
And it was about 1 a.m, and I mean, it was just lost on me, to be honest. At that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people who like Quintarelli. It's too much wine for me.
Yeah,
it's just too soupy.
Yeah, it's like almost like port. It's so strong.
It's so much. There's so I don't know if you know how Amarone is made, but they dry the grapes for 3 months prior to pressing them, which makes it why they're so fat.
Right.
And there's good Amarone and people. There's no right or wrong when it comes to taste. Everybody likes what they like. Obviously,
that's a great point you just made. Yeah, I mean, I like them like lighter, fresher, but with a lot of flavor, and this certainly has that.
Yeah, this is just.
I mean, it's amazing the amount of flavor in this wine, and but it's very light.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I really find it to be an exceptional thing that you just don't find. Them like that for that much money.
Now, what do you say about champagne? I mean, when people talk about champagne, people love to buy champagne for special occasions, but why champagne, really? Like when you have things of this caliber?
Well, champagne has prestige, but right now we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with you in a couple minutes.
Sounds good.